Good afternoon, Noel Gibbons here from UK Foamsmithing Cosplay. Just started up another video here now, continuing with the Cyclops build that we've been doing for quite some time, and I've now completed everything I think that I need to do for the time being. I'll just spin you around. So I feel like I've covered the legs on that one. I did the video on the thigh armour and the moulded muscle aspect on that, taking the same principles as what we did on on the arms, and really just transferred it to the legs. So it's starting to come together now. So we've still got a way to go, and continuing on the leg theme. I wanted to change things up a little bit. So managed to complete the knees, which is just a basic knee pattern, very simple. I don't want anything too much, so that's 8mm textured foam that I've just done that on. I've done some V-cuts on the inside to give a moulding over whilst maintaining a couple of seams here where glued it together to really sort of pull it round. They'll be sanded in the field after. So I've done those two for that. So that's the knees done. So now it's kind of moving on to the next bit. Now I was looking at various different types of boot covers, really. So I went through all of my files, looking at the Batman, looking at all sorts of different ones that I've got, right through to Halo, Mass Effect, all stuff that I've looked at and used before. We couldn't find anything that I felt that was simple enough. Looking at the reference pictures, it's really just a simple boot. In fact, if you could get yellow boots, then you'd be done. But you know, we know that yellow boots are very limited use within the cosplay industry. Really, there are only certain characters that you can use that for. So firstly, you've got to find them, and undoubtedly you'll end up paying serious money for them as well. So boot covers was definitely the way forward, but it was just a matter of how did I go about it. So now I bought these boots off Wish. I think they were £21, but they're really good boots, really good sole on them, good shape, fit my calf well, nice and tight, but not so tight they're restrictive. And these are generally the boots that I tend to wear for cosplay anyway. And they have a variety of applications, from Nightwing to Red Hood. I've used them for all sorts of different things. But obviously, as you begin to expand into the characters, you then decide that you are obviously dealing with different types of boot covers that make them look different. They're comfortable to wear, so when you're at a con all day, you want something that's quite good on your feet. Now, 30 years of hairdressing has trained my feet well, but even so, you still need something comfortable on your feet, and that's one thing I did learn. And these work very well. I wore them all day last weekend for a charity event in Colchester called Invasion Colchester, where I went as Red Hood, and they were really good. So I thought, well, the best thing to do is to use these as a base, and actually, in the same way as you do duct tape body forms to be able to build your armour on, and also Kamui uses the same technique to give herself templates for various parts of her armour. So it made me think, so well, okay then, well, maybe if I did the same principle on these, then I'd get the boot cover that would work over these and be able to embellish them in the way that well, it needs like a top border, but other than that, it's a very simple boot cover. So obviously you've got to move and walk, so obviously, you know, you need to split the armour here and then over the toe, so 1, 2, 3 pieces of armour. There isn't so much of a bend that way that you can't just when you're walking, but nothing too dramatic. Actually, wearing these for the day has told me where the stress points are, because the lines have appeared as I've worn them. So yeah, so I'm going to look at sort of how I could divide this up. I've never done this before, This is somebody may have done this already, but it's a new idea to me. So I thought I'd give it a bit of a lash and sort of see how it works. So in order to make the boot quite rigid, for when I put the cellophane wrap on, I've filled it with bubble wrap, pushed it right down to make it quite solid. So I mean, you don't want to make it too tight because it's going to go over and you're going to use straps anyway, so you don't want to go too far with it, but you still want it in a tight enough sort of setup that it will work. So essentials for the job, right, plain old cling film, which is what I've done. Hopefully it will stick to the boot, I guess we'll find out, but I'm probably going to wrap it around in a way that it sticks to itself at least. And anybody that's tried to wrap everything, any food or anything like that, knows that it sticks a little bit too well to itself. It'll be a real pain, but that might actually work in my favour this time. Duct tape, again just a cheap roll, got it from B&Q. It's like a couple of quid I think for quite a roll. I mean, I've used half of it already, but you know, there's still plenty of life left in that yet. As you can see, I've already started to pre-cut some pieces to start putting it together to make it less boring for you. I'm also going to need a pen to make some notes, and I've got permanent marker to mark on the duct tape once I've done it, scissors to cut the tape, and eventually to cut the actual template off the boot itself. So you're going to need to cut it up the back, which is where I'm going to put the seam, because it's the most obvious place is to put it in the back. So you could put it on the inside where the zip is, but in my experience they tend to rub a little bit too much when you're walking at a con. So I'm going to go with the back, is where I'm going to put mine. So that's your essential tools. Oh, and good old fashioned cup of coffee. Keep you going throughout the build. So this is not going to be the most action-packed video in the world, but it's essential learning. You know, if in doubt, make your own templates. Well, how do you do that? Well, you know, it's good to have something to sort of build off, something that you can use to start, rather than actually sort of trying to draw it out on paper using rulers and measurements, etc., etc., to come up with something. So obviously I'm sticking the duct tape to this. Oh, it does stick quite well to the boot, so that's good. I don't want to wrap it too tight, for the simple reason that if you do it too tight, then it's no longer going to be a form, and you're actually going to crush the item that you're trying to do. So tear that down. You're only trying to get a basic cover anyway, because you're going to cover it in duct tape. So now I've got the fun bit of trying to get around the ankle and the boot itself. So let's do this in pieces. Because again, it's one of these things that you know, people say, "Ta-da! Here's one I made earlier." That's all well and good, but you actually kind of, if you've never done it before, you kind of need to know how to do it. So again, as always with my videos, unedited, uncut, as it happens, real time, and quite often I'll do things that I've never done before, so if there's any errors, you'll see them too. So yeah. So just going around, just placing it around. As you can see, it's not a difficult job. You don't need a heavy layer of it. You just need enough to be able to cover everything. So that when you duct tape it, so all the excess you'll cut off with scissors anyway. I'm just going to do a little bit more around the back, but I'll do a thin piece. That should do it. Gap there, so I'll just pop that around that side as well. Obviously we're going to leave the sole exposed, like I said, we'll cut the excess off that and just push that all in around there. Might do a little bit of extra just on the toe. we go. Flatten all that down so it's flush on the boot, sticks to itself. So that should do it. Bit of a double skin all round, so I know that I've got a good coverage, and we'll go from there. Right, so next is the duct tape. As I say, I've pre-cut a load of pieces first, just because I wanted to save time. Again, I'm just pushing it on, I'm not tightening it up. I'm only covering, I'm not trying to pull in. I don't want to alter the shape of the boot. Starting at the top. I'll start to work my way down, overlapping slightly. Sticking to everything that it shouldn't stick to. Making a nice mess.
Hey, Noel? Noel?
Hi, Bernie.
The site that Shelley uses called Bark.
Yep.
If you're looking for an electrician, that might be a good place to go.
I've got a friend coming round.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I've got a friend coming round from church.
Okay.
So, but thanks anyway. I'm just in the middle of filming a video. So that's Bernie, my neighbour, and just giving me some helpful advice on electricians.
All right.
Thanks, Bernie. There you go. Told you it was everything, didn't I? Okay. So just building that round. Following the contour of the boot, because that's what you want, is shape. I've done some other boot stuff before, and without doing this, and just tried to sort of eyeball it. The problem is with that is it ended up looking very square. It's very difficult to get the calf shape. Excuse me. And that made life a little bit tricky, and made it look a little bit boring, to be honest. So I wanted to whoops, a daisy. There we go. That's what happens when you have loose duct tape everywhere. Didn't matter, because I'm just gonna cover it all with itself anyway, so waste not, want not. Okay, so that's all my pre-cut stuff used. Still got a bit to go. I kind of wanted to get to this stage, and then I knew that the sizes would be different in terms of what size strips I needed. I didn't know what that was going to be until I actually started to do it. So, like I say, as I've never done it before, wasn't sure where it was going to go. Problem is with this stuff, it does tend to gunk up your scissors after a while, so it's not always great, so just be aware of that. Look for gaps as well, just to make sure that you are covering everything. There we go. Imagine somebody doing a whole body form. Those of you that have done it, my hat off to you. It's a very laborious task, and I imagine doing a whole body is going to be a nightmare. Although, very useful at the same time. Was it no pain, no gain? So, that's cosplay. All becomes worth it when you wear it. So working my way around now. So I'm just on the lower part of the boot now, so it's actually been surprisingly quicker than I thought it would be. This is where it's going to get tricky, because once you go to the toe you're going to have to use quite short strips to cover everything up. See, it's getting really gunky now. I'm going to go right down to the sole, because I'll separate the sole through feel. And just trim that off, because there's no point in covering the sole up on this particular build. On other ones I did another one, it was based on the Mass Effect ME2 armour, and I actually wanted it to be more imposing, and being only 5'5", it's very difficult to be imposing. So so I ended up creating a platform sole. So I drew around, so I sort of drew around the sole of a shoe that I was going to use as a base, and use that as a template, and then cut, I think, 6 layers, which I then glued together. So gave in an extra few inches of height. Worked very well, very comfortable to wear. Didn't feel at all imbalanced on it. You know, overall it worked out to be a very good idea. Again, something I found on some other YouTuber had decided to do, and share their journey, which is really kind of what we do, is trying to share our journey as we go. You know, on the basis that you might pick up something that you didn't know. There is a lot of information out there, so it's very difficult to be original. That's not to say it can't be valuable. Okay, so a few more bits left to do. I'm going to use short bits now. Getting very gunky now. I'd better have a spare pair of scissors at this point. There we go. I don't. Just start tearing it. Savouring the scissors. So clean them off with alcohol later to get that glue off. Right, let's see how we do. Trust me, it's not easy to do that with your teeth.